Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going to do a deep dive into English verb tenses.
You.
Yeah, you might think
Big tense.
it is. You might
Yeah.
think you've got a handle on, past, present, future.
Right.
But trust me, there are nuances that even advanced learners
Oh, yeah.
can benefit from.
Absolutely. I think of it as like a grammar tune-up.
Ooh, I like that.
We're going to be using this English verb tense learning guide that you gave me to go beyond the textbook
Okay.
and really look at how native speakers use these tenses.
Exactly. Our mission is to uncover those secrets to using verb tenses with native-like fluency.
Yes.
We'll tackle those tricky situations like the difference between simple past and present perfect.
Ooh.
Why going to sometimes feels better than will for the future.
It's all about having the right tool for the job.
Okay.
And today we're giving you a whole toolbox of verb tenses.
I like that. Okay, let's start with the simple present.
Okay.
Now, it's obviously for stating facts like the sky is blue,
Right.
but there's more to it.
Right. Absolutely. The simple present is also for habits, routines, preferences.
Okay.
Like she drinks coffee every morning or he prefers tea over coffee.
Okay.
It's those actions or states that are generally true, not just in this very second.
So it's about expressing regular occurrences, ongoing truths.
Yes.
And of course, we can't forget about that S or S. We add to third-person singular verbs in the present tense.
Right. He walks. She talks. It rains.
Mm-hmm.
It's small, but crucial for sounding natural.
Right.
And while we're at it, let's not forget about the negative and question forms.
Yeah, let's break those down.
Okay.
For negatives, we use do not or does not before the base form of the verb.
Right.
Like, I do not like spicy food, or he does not drive.
Exactly. And for questions, we
Yeah.
bring in those auxiliary verbs,
Okay.
do and does to the beginning.
Right.
Do you like to travel?
Yes.
Does she speak French?
Mm-hmm.
It's all about those little helpers
Yeah.
that give the simple present tense its structure.
So even though it's called the simple present, there's a lot going on under the hood.
Right.
Mastering these details can make a big difference in your fluency.
Absolutely.
Now let's shift gears and talk about actions that are happening right now.
Okay.
Present progressive or present continuous.
This tense is all about capturing those actions in progress.
Right.
The structure is pretty straightforward. The verb to be plus the ing form of the main verb.
Okay.
I am walking. She is reading. They are eating.
It paints a picture of actions unfolding in real time.
Yeah.
Like right now, I am recording this deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we can also use the present progressive to talk about actions that are happening over a period of time,
Yes.
even if they're not happening this very second.
Right, like he is studying for his exams this week, or
Yeah.
they are traveling around Europe this summer.
Right. It's about those actions that are ongoing, even if they're not happening at the exact moment of speaking.
Exactly.
So it's a very versatile tense.
Yeah.
It can be used for both immediate actions and those that are spread out over time.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember there being some verbs that don't take the ing form,
Yes.
even when we're talking about actions in progress.
You're right. There are certain categories of verbs called speeda verbs.
Okay.
They describe states rather than actions.
Okay.
These include verbs of perception like see, hear, smell, taste, feel, and verbs of cognition like think, believe, know, understand.
So instead of saying, I am seeing the mountains,
Yes.
it's I see the mountains.
Exactly. And instead of I am thinking about you, it's like think about you.
Right.
These verbs describe a state of being or a mental process
Yeah.
rather than an action unfolding over time.
It's those subtle distinctions that can really trip up non-native speakers.
Yeah.
But understanding the difference between stative and action verbs can really help you use the present progressive accurately.
Absolutely.
Now let's talk about the future.
Okay.
English has not one but three ways to express the future. Why so many?
Well, each way has its own nuances.
Okay.
Let's start with will.
Okay.
This is our workhorse for future predictions, promises spontaneous decisions.
Okay.
I think it will rain tomorrow. I promise I'll call you later.
Will feels very open-ended, like it covers a wide range of future possibilities.
Uh-huh. What about going to?
Yeah.
Going to. Going to has a sense of intention,
Okay.
a plan that's already decided on.
Okay.
We're going to visit Italy next year.
Mm-hmm.
It can also be used for predictions based on current evidence.
Uh-huh.
Look at those dark clouds. It's going to rain.
So going to is more about those plans or predictions that feel more certain, more concrete.
Yes.
And then we have present continuous.
Right.
which can also be used to talk about the future.
This one's all about scheduled events or arrangements that are already in place. I'm having dinner with friends tomorrow.
Okay.
It implies a higher level of certainty than going to, because the details are already set.
So it's like saying, it's not just an intention, it's on the calendar.
Exactly.
The subtle differences between these three future forms
Yes.
can be tricky,
Yeah.
but mastering them allows you to express future plans and predictions with more accuracy and nuance.
Absolutely. It's about choosing the right shade of meaning for the situation.
I like that. Okay, let's travel back in time to the simple past tense.
Okay.
Simple past, this one is all about completed actions in the past.
Yes.
We use it for actions that happened at a specific time in the past. And we often use time expressions like yesterday, last week, in 2020
Right.
to clarify when the action took place.
And while the concept is simple, the conjugation can be a bit tricky,
Yeah.
especially with those irregular verbs.
Right.
For regular verbs, we just add ed to the base form.
Right.
Walked, talked, jumped.
Okay.
But irregular verbs, you just have to memorize them.
Right, like go, which becomes went, see, which becomes saw, eat, which becomes ate.
Exactly. They don't follow any predictable patterns.
And don't forget about the negative and question forms in the simple past.
Right. We need that auxiliary verb. Did you go to the party? No, I did not go.
It's interesting how the simple past tense, even though it deals with the past, relies on this auxiliary did to create questions and negatives.
Yeah, it's a key feature of the tense.
Okay, now, get ready for the one that often causes the most confusion for English learners.
Yeah.
The present perfect.
The present perfect is all about connecting the past to the present.
Okay.
It's not about a specific time in the past, but about the action's relevance to now.
That's a helpful way to think about it.
Yeah.
It's not about when the action happened,
Right.
but about its impact on the present.
Exact. Can I give you some examples to illustrate?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's say you've been to Paris at some point in your life. You wouldn't say, I visited Paris in 2019 because that's a specific pastime.
Right.
You'd say, I have been to Paris.
Okay.
The experience of visiting Paris is what matters, not the specific year.
So the present perfect is about that lasting effect or relevance to the present moment.
Yes. What are some other ways we use this tense?
Yeah, what are some other ways?
We also use it for actions that started in the past and continue into the present.
What?
I have lived in this city for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
The action of living here began in the past and continues to this day.
I see, it's about that ongoing connection between the past and the present.
Exactly. Are there any other key uses?
Yeah, are there any other ones?
We also use it to talk about experiences or accomplishments up to now without mentioning a specific time.
Okay.
Like, I have written 3 books, or she has run several marathons.
Okay.
The focus is on the achievement, not the specific moments in time.
This is really starting to make sense.
Good.
The present perfect is all about bridging the gap between the past and the present.
Yes, but there are times when we should avoid using this tense.
Right. Are there any times when we should avoid it?
We don't use the present perfect with specific past time expressions. So you wouldn't say, I have seen that movie last night.
Right.
You'd use the simple past. I saw that movie last night.
Got it. Specific past times belong to the simple past.
Exactly. Any other times.
Yeah, any other times we should steer clear.
Yes, when talking about actions that are completely finished and have no connection to the present.
Okay.
For example, Shakespeare wrote many plays.
Right.
Shakespeare's writing is in the past completed, doesn't affect the present.
So the present perfect is all about that connection to the present moment.
Yes.
Whether it's an ongoing action, a past experience that still resonates,
Right.
or an accomplishment that continues to be relevant.
You've captured the essence of it.
Okay, good.
The present perfect is a bridge between the past and the present. And understanding these nuances can greatly enhance your fluency and expressiveness in English.
We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our verb tense deep dive.
We have.
We've explored the simple present, the present progressive,
Yes.
3 ways to talk about the future, the simple past, and the ever so tricky present. Perfect.
It can be tricky.
But don't worry.
Yes.
We'll give you, our listeners, a chance to digest all this verb tense goodness.
Yes. Take a break.
We'll be back soon with part 2 of our deep dive,
Yes.
when we'll venture into even more complex
Oh, yes.
and intriguing aspects of English verb tenses. Stay tuned.
See you soon.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah.
We're picking up right where we left off, exploring the fascinating world of English verb tenses.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground,
We have.
but there's so much more to discover.
Okay.
In this part, we'll journey deeper into the past
Ooh.
and explore those tenses that add layers of meaning to our narratives.
Okay, let's start with the past progressive,
Okay.
or past continuous tense.
Yes. This one is all about painting a picture of actions in progress at a specific time in the past.
Okay.
Like a snapshot of a moment in time.
Okay, so how do we form this one?
The structure is similar to the present progressive,
Okay.
plus the ing form of the verb. I was walking in the park. She was reading a book. They were having dinner.
It's like we're zooming in on a specific moment in the past
Yes.
and observing those actions unfolding.
Exactly.
And just like with the present progressive,
Yeah.
we can use the past progressive to talk about actions that were happening over a period of time in the past.
Right. For instance, I was working on that project all week, or they were traveling through Asia for months.
Okay, so it emphasizes that ongoing nature of the action
Yes.
during that specific period in the past.
Exactly.
So it's about capturing those actions that were in progress, whether for a brief moment or an extended duration in the past.
Yes. And we can also use the past progressive to set the scene for a story.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great tool for creating that immersive feeling.
Oh,
Like, the sun was shining, the birds were singing, and a gentle breeze was blowing through the trees. It was a perfect summer day.
I can almost feel the warmth of the sun and hear the birds singing. It's amazing how a simple change in verb tense can transport us to another time and place.
Yeah, it's powerful.
But what about those times when we need to talk about an action that happened before another action in the past?
That's where the past perfect comes into play.
Past perfect.
Yes, this tense helps us establish the order of events
Okay.
and clarify those before and after relationships.
I'm already picturing timelines
Yes.
and sequences.
Lots of arrows.
Yeah. How do we form the past perfect?
The structure's pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Had plus the past participle of the verb.
Okay.
I'd already finished my work when my friends arrived.
Okay.
This shows that finishing the work happened before the friends arrived.
So the past perfect acts as a marker,
Yes.
signaling that one action was completed
Right.
before another action in the past.
It's like creating a chronological roadmap.
I like a chronological roadmap within our sentences.
Exactly. It's all about establishing a clear sequence of events.
Okay.
Here's another example. She had never traveled by plane before she moved to Europe.
Okay.
This shows that not traveling by plane happened before moving to Europe.
So the past perfect adds that extra layer of detail
Yes.
and clarity to our narratives.
It helps us create a more precise and engaging storytelling experience.
Now, what about those times when we need to talk about an action that was in progress
Okay.
before another action in the past?
That's where the past perfect progressive tense comes in handy.
Past perfect progressive.
It combines the features of the past perfect and the past progressive.
Okay.
So we can express those ongoing actions that were interrupted or completed before another action in the past.
Okay, this sounds pretty intense.
It does. It's a grammatical powerhouse.
Yeah. How do we form this intricate tense?
The structure is had plus been plus the ing form of the verb.
Okay.
They had been waiting for an hour when the bus finally arrived.
Okay.
So this emphasizes that the waiting was ongoing for the duration of 1 hour before the bus arrived.
So the past perfect progressive highlights the duration of that ongoing action
Yes.
before another past action.
It's like saying, this was already happening and then this other thing happened.
Right. Okay, I like that.
You got it.
Okay, so the past perfect progressive
Yes.
adds a layer of detail and depth to our sentences.
Creating a richer understanding of past events.
Okay.
It's like we're zooming in on a specific period in the past and highlighting an action that was in progress during that time.
These past tenses, with their various forms and functions,
Yeah.
allow us to express the nuances of time and sequence in a way that's both precise and captivating.
Yes.
They give us the power to recreate the past, explore different perspectives, and weave intricate narratives.
Absolutely. And as we continue our journey through the world of verb tenses, we'll discover even more ways to manipulate time
Okay.
and express those subtle shades of meaning that make the English language so rich and fascinating.
I'm ready for more.
Okay, but before we move on to the perfect progressive tenses, let's give our listeners a moment to reflect on these past tense powerhouses and how they can use them to enhance their storytelling and conversational skills.
That's a great idea. Let's summarize the key uses of the past tenses we've discussed.
Okay.
Past progressive is for actions in progress at a specific time in the past.
Yes.
And for describing simultaneous actions in the past. The past perfect is for actions that happened before another action in the past,
Right.
establishing a clear sequence of events. And the past perfect progressive
Okay.
is for describing an action that was in progress before another action in the past, highlighting the duration of that ongoing action.
Perfect. That's a concise and helpful recap.
Okay, so are you ready to venture into the realm of perfect progressive tenses?
I am. Let's go.
Welcome back to the final part of our verb tense exploration.
The grand finale.
Yes. We've covered simple tenses, progressive tenses, even delved into the past perfect, and now we're ready to tackle the perfect progressive tenses,
Yes.
which can be quite the grammatical challenge.
They can be, but they're also incredibly useful
Okay.
for expressing those actions that have a duration that spans across different time frames.
Okay.
Let's start with the present perfect progressive.
Okay, present perfect progressive. I'm already anticipating some have-has and exing action.
You got it.
What's this tense all about?
It's for actions that started in the past and continue into the present.
Okay.
Emphasizing that ongoing nature of the action,
Right.
the structure is have has plus been plus the in form of the verb.
Okay.
I have been learning English for 5 years.
So it's not just about the fact that I've studied English,
Right.
but that the learning process is still ongoing.
Exactly.
It's highlighting that continuous effort over time.
Yes, and we often use the present perfect progressive with for or since to indicate the duration of the action.
Okay.
She has been working on that project for weeks. They've been living in the city since 2010.
So it's perfect for those actions that have a sense of continuity
Yes.
from the past to the present.
Exactly. What are some other ways we use it?
Yeah. What are some other ways we use it?
We also use it to talk about actions that recently stopped but have a present result.
Okay.
I've been running, that's why I'm out of breath.
Uh-huh.
It has been raining, the streets are wet.
So even though the action itself has ended, its effects are still felt in the present moment.
Exactly.
The present perfect progressive captures that connection
Yes.
between the past action and the present impact.
You got it. And just like with other tenses,
Yeah.
we can use the present perfect progressive to ask questions
Okay.
like, have you been waiting long?
Uh-huh.
Or to make negative statements.
Right.
I haven't been sleeping well lately.
It follows those familiar patterns we've seen,
Yes.
which makes it a bit easier to remember.
Hopefully.
Now let's jump ahead in time and explore the future perfect progressive.
Okay.
This one sounds like we're gazing into a crystal ball.
We are in a way. The future perfect progressive lets us talk about an action that will be in progress.
Okay.
At a specific point in the future,
Right.
it's like fast forwarding to a future moment
Okay.
and observing an action that will have been ongoing up to that point.
Okay, this is getting pretty complex.
It is, are you ready for the structure breakdown?
Yes, please.
Okay, it's will plus have plus been plus the ing form of the verb.
Okay.
For example, by this time next year, I will have been living in the city for a decade.
Oh.
So we're projecting ourselves into the future and envisioning an action
Yeah.
that will have been ongoing up to that specific point.
It's like saying this action will have been happening continuously until this moment.
Exactly. We often use the future perfect progressive with by or for
Okay.
to indicate the time frame. By the time you arrive, I will have been cooking for hours,
Yeah.
or we will have been traveling for a month by the end of June.
It's a powerful tense
It is.
for expressing those future continuations.
Yes, with precision and vividness.
It's like we're painting a picture of the future with actions that are already in motion,
That's a beautiful way to put it.
even though they haven't happened yet.
The future perfect progressive allows us to express those ongoing future actions
Yeah.
with a sense of certainty and anticipation.
Wow. We've covered a lot of ground in this verb tense marathon.
We have, from the simple present to the future perfect progressive.
Yeah.
We've explored the intricacies of time, continuity, and hypothetical scenarios.
And through it all, we've seen how these verb tenses with their various forms and functions
Right.
empower us to express ourselves with greater clarity, nuance, and creativity.
Absolutely.
It's been an incredible journey
It has.
of grammatical discovery, and I hope you, our listeners, have found it both enlightening and empowering.
Me too.
Remember, the key to mastering verb tenses is practice, practice, practice.
Yes. The more you use them, the more natural and intuitive they become.
Absolutely.
Oh.
So keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep embracing the richness and complexity of the English language. And until our next deep dive,
Yes.
happy grammar adventures.
Bye.